Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Myself Dr. B.K. Chaudhary, Professor retired, Department of Library Information Science, Sambalpur University, Odisha. Today I am to give a talk on functional requirements for bibliographic records, which you can say FRBR. This is belong to the paper Knowledge Organization Structure Cataloging. So, what we learn from this module? When I talk to you, you must learn what is functional requirement for bibliographic record, what it is. So, it is based on entity relationship model, most importantly. Secondly, what is attributes. Then I will discuss what is expression, work, attribute, and the user task. User task means it is very important how to find, how to identify, how to select, how to obtain the appropriate resource by searching the National Bibliographic Records with the help of FRBR, keeping in mind the requirement of the users. So, as I told you repeatedly, the basic concept, the basic importance of FRBR, it is revolves around, or you can say it is based on entity relationship model. This terminology, where it comes from? It does not come from a library science field. It is borrowed from the database technology. So, entity relationship model is a conceptual model which represents data of problem domain in terms of entities. And you know who has proposed this? For the first time, it is proposed by Professor P.P. Chen in the year 1976. So, in the beginning, let me start. What is FRBR? FRBR is a conceptual model, and basically it is based on entity relationship, which serves as the basis for relating specific attributes. You mark my 2 points very carefully: entity relationship and attributes, and the relationship of various user tasks in consulting bibliographic records. And what it does, the main basic its objective is FRBR to identify specific user task. User task, who are the users? Those are coming for searching some databases, some records, some catalogs. So, the basic user tasks that bibliographic records are intended to fulfill. So, you must prepare bibliographic records in such a way that you must be very careful how to find, how to identify. After identification, you have to select. Then, if you got the appropriate resource, from where it will be obtained, whether it will from purchase or from loan, that have to be decided. Also, further it recommends a set of elements for inclusion in National Bibliographic Records. So, it also, besides this, it also gives some set of very important and workable and necessary elements for inclusion in National Bibliographic Records. So, as I told you repeatedly, so the basic concept, the basic importance of FRBR, it is revolves around, or you can say it is based on entity relationship model. And this terminology, where it comes from? It does not come from a library science field. It is borrowed from the database technology. So, entity relationship model is a conceptual model which represents data of problem domain in terms of entities. And you know who has proposed this? For the first time, it is proposed by Professor P.P. Chen in the year 1976. So, first let us discuss what are the entities, because these are the interrelationship, one of the factors and facets. So, what is entity? You know, entities are the basic objects of entity relationship model. So, whatever exists independently is called entity. Do you follow my point? What is entity? Entity means which exists independently. By giving an example, you can know very easily what is entity. It may be a physical object. What is a physical object? A book, a desk, a chair, a student, a teacher, an employee, or it may be an object with conceptual existence. For example, a library, a publisher, a university course, or anything likewise. So, FRBR has identified 3 groups of entities. There are 3 groups. First group is work, expression, manifestation, item. So, these are the 4 belongs to the group 1. What is the group 2 entities? Person, corporate body. Because work means what? Very easily you can say a book or anything which can be told as the work, a document. So, documents, who published it? Who creates it? Either a person it creates or a corporate body it creates. So, these are the 2 group entities. Number 3 comes which consists of entities. So, what are the entities? Concept, object, event, place. What do you mean by work? A work is an abstract entity. There is no single material object you can say it is a work. One can point to as the work. So, you cannot say any single material object is an work. So, what is work? So, work is recognized through individual realization. So, when there is a work, if it is realized or expressions of the work, but the work itself exists only in the commonality of content between and among the various expressions of the work. So, the content when it is realized it becomes expression. For example, you know Homer's very famous Iliad as a work does not refer to any particular recitation or the text of the work, but the intellectual creation, the intellectual thought content that lies behind all the various expressions of the work. So, then comes what is expression? An expression is the specific intellectual or artistic form that a work takes each time. Then when it is realized, expression encompasses. For example, the specific words, sentences, paragraphs are the result from the realization of a work in the form of a text or the particular sounds or phrases, etc., resulting from the realization of a musical work. So, these are the examples of expression. Next comes to what is a manifestation. So, first I have discussed, I have told you what is work, what is expression. Now come to manifestation. So, when a work is realized, the resulting expression, as I have told you, of the work may be physical embodiment or in a medium. The physical embodiment of work is what? How it is, the knowledge is recorded in the form of what? Either a paper or audio tape or video tape or canvas or plasters. So, these are the examples of this manifestation. Also, that physical embodiment constitutes a manifestation of the work. So, that work is manifested in the form of what? Paper, audio tape, video tape or canvas. Then come to item. The entity defined as item is a concrete entity. It is in many instances either a single physical object, that is a copy of one volume or copy of a one monograph or a single audio cassette. Also there are some instances, however, where the entity defined as item comprises more than one physical object, that is one copy, one volume of monograph or a single audio cassette. But here the example is a monograph issued as 2 separately bound volumes. Many volumes are being issued in 2 separate bound volumes, like your mail will be 3 parts, so many things, so many documents, so many items. So, a recording issued on 3 separate compact discs, one work, but a recording issued on 3 separate compact discs. Then comes what is attributes. So, each entity has attribute. You cannot say no, everybody will say yes, because each entity has must attribute. What is that attribute? The properties which describe the entity. For example, I am giving a very simple example by which we can understand very clearly. You see, a person, a person's entity, how my entity will be described? By my name, by my date of birth, by my designation. So anybody can be described by his name, date of birth or place of birth and what is his designation. So, these are the attributes. So, each entity has attributes. So, these are the attributes by which attributes can be recognized. Then relationship. So entity part is over, because I told you it is a entity relationship conceptual model. So, entity I have already told. So, what about the relationship? Then let me discuss with you, or let me tell you regarding person. The entity defined as person encompasses individuals. Person means what? We are individuals, are deceased as well as those that are living. So, deceased means those who are not living. They have already dead. They are no more in this world. So, they are also treated as the person. For example, very simple, most renowned celebrated writer in English literature is William Shakespeare, and the Nobel Prize award winner is Rabindranath Tagore, who is widely acknowledged throughout the world. So, basically persons are treated as entities only to the extent that they are involved in the creation or realization of a work. So, example, if the person is responsible for creation of a work, he is named as the author. Sometimes for music, composers. And there are so many books which are the responsibility goes to editor. You see, Oxford English Dictionary, Webster's English Dictionary, Encyclopedia Library Info Science. Are there any authors? There are editors. So, translators, because some book is written in English, it has been translated to Hindi by some person. So, their translator is the most important. So, translator will act as the person or creation of that. Then directors. Motion picture, video recording, I have explained in module 2. So, directors and performers. Those who are perform, they are also the creator of that work, or in some cases as the subject of a work. Example, as the subject of a bibliography or autobiographical work of a history, etc. These are also can be recognized, can be known as the person. So, I would like to give you some examples which you can say what are the corporate bodies. There is Museum of American Folk Art, corporate body. BBC, British Broadcasting Centre, Symphony Orchestra, that is very famous here. Then Symposium on Glaucoma. Then another example I have given for your better understanding. Kolkata Municipal Corporational Municipality, that is one example. Another example is Municipality of Ottawa Carleton. So these are all the organizations. These are corporate bodies. These are. So when they are bringing something, it belongs to the corporate body. When individual has done something, it is called the person. So have a clear-cut idea between person and corporate body. Then to tell you about concept, to be more clarified, you must be understand properly. Now, the entity defined as concept encompasses a comprehensive range of abstractions that may be the subject of a work or a field of knowledge, or you can say discipline, subject, field of knowledge, all are having equal meanings, or school of thought. Which subjects are called school of thought? Now, nowadays in the universities there is school of thought is there, school of humanities, school of life sciences, school of mathematical sciences. So, school of thought means philosophy, it is coming under philosophies, religions, political ideologies, etc. Therefore, processes, techniques, practices, etc. are the examples. So, to conclude, what is a concept? A concept may be broad in nature or narrowly defined and precise. So, the examples are very simple examples: economics, romanticism. These are the examples of this concept. Then comes the object. What is object? The entity defined as object, same thing, encompasses a comprehensive range of material things that may be the subject of a work, whether animate, whether inanimate. Animate means those who are having a life, inanimate means which cannot speak, which are no life. Objects, both occurring in nature, whether it is fixed, movable, and moving objects that are the product of human creation. Object that also no longer exist. So, see the very burning examples are the Buckingham Palace, Taj Mahal, Apollo 11, the Eiffel Tower. So, these are the very famous examples. So, last is the place. So, what is the place? The entity defined as place which encompasses a comprehensive range of locations, whether terrestrial and extraterrestrial, historical and contemporary, or geographic features, and geopolitical jurisdictions. So, I have given some examples. When you listen, you will definitely understand in a more better and clear manner. So, Howrah Beach, the Alkran Reef, the Himalayas. New Delhi what? New Delhi is a place. So, a relationship is an association between or among entities. Relationship can serve as the vehicle for depicting the link between one entity to another. So, it will work, it will act like a link between the one entity to another entity, and thus as the means of assisting the user, it will helpful to the user, it will assist the user to navigate the universe that is represented in a bibliography, in a catalog, or in a bibliographic database. So, bibliography means what? List of items, list of books authored by. What is catalog? Catalog gives the list of books giving a lot of information. So, also a bibliographic database. There are various types of relationship. So, one relationship is equivalence relationship, another is derivative relationship, third one is descriptive relationship, then you can say whole part relationship. Now, another important factor is users, because the users are the targets of anything we are doing in the cataloging field. So, users are defined in FRBR quite broadly and encompasses traditional library users. Who are the library users? Students, teachers, research scholars, administrative staff, the library staff itself, as well as publishers, retailers, and providers and consumers of information outside the library. So, what I told, it is also mentioned in the FRBR manual. That same thing, let me quote. Users are defined in FRBR quite broadly, as I told you, and encompasses traditional library users, I have explained you, including library staff, as well as publishers, retailers, and providers of information and consumers of information outside the library. So, now comes a user task. What are the user tasks? FRBR also very rightly identified 4 generic tasks that are performed by users. When it is performed by users? While searching and making use of national bibliographies and library catalogs. So, while searching the library catalog, what the users are doing? What search method they are doing? So, either some are searching on the title, some are searching on the author wise, some are searching on subject wise. So, why they are searching? Why they are searching? To find a book, whatever the desired book they want, whatever the required book or document, anything they want. So, they are searching. So, what are the steps it follows? First is find, identify, select, obtain. So let me tell you something about find. So, to find entities that corresponds to user stated search criteria. So, when the find will be completed? To find entities that correspond to the user stated search criteria. That is, to locate either a single entity or a set of entities in a file or in a database as the result of a search using an attribute. What is the attribute? That is the relationship of the entity. So, first he will find the required material he likes or he desires. Then comes the identity. After finding, the identity next step comes. What is that identity? To identify an entity. What do you mean by identify to an entity? That is, to confirm that the entity described, what entity is described, it must correspond, it must tally to the entity which is required by the users, or to distinguish between 2 or more entities with similar characteristics. You see, there are so many documents, so many things, they are having same subject like that, but they are having 2 or more entities with similar characteristics. So, that you have to identify before finalizing that thing, you have to identify. Then comes select. So, first step is gone, second step is gone. Now, question of selecting is coming. So, to select an entity that is appropriate to the user's needs, it must consonance with, it must match to the user's needs. Otherwise, it is of no use, because user's need must be matched. That is, to choose an entity that meets the user's requirement with respect to what he is searching, what content in that book, whether the content is there which the user is searching. So, respect to content, physical format, in which physical format it is available, or if it is not there with the appropriate things what he is searching, or it is not matching or telling with his requirement thing, he can reject, there is no problem. He can reject the entity as being inappropriate to the user's needs. So, when it is inappropriate or mismatch, then you can reject. Now comes the obtain. So, you have selected, you have selected now. Now question of obtain, how to obtain this? To acquire or obtain access to the entity described. So, how we will have to obtain? Where to get? Either through online connection to a remote computer, or to access an entity electrically, or to purchase it, or to bring on loan. So, by any means you will obtain. Either you can purchase, or you can ask for loan, or it is not possible electronically through an online connection to a remote computer. You make a connection, a link, then you can search like that. Now, let me talk to you regarding group 2 entities. It consists of person and corporate body. Before this, I have already told you group 1, which consists of work, expression, manifestation and item. So, regarding group 2 entities, person. So, the entities in the second group consist or represent who it represents? Those responsible, as I have told you, for the intellectual or artistic content, or the person who is chiefly responsible for the thought content or intellectual or artistic content, the physical production and dissemination also, or the custodianship of the entities in the first group, what I discussed to you earlier. The entities in the second group include person. Person means what? An individual. And a corporate body means, as I told you, a group of persons when they come together to bring something or to do some work or some document, it is called the work of a corporate body. Not a single person is involved, so many persons are involved. So, an organization or a group of individuals and are also organizations. So, as I discussed with you, group of individuals or any organization responsible for that work is known as the corporate body. Then let me discuss with you, or let me tell you regarding person. The entity defined as person encompasses individuals. Person means what? Where individuals are deceased as well as those that are living. So, deceased means, I am giving a little example. Deceased means those who are not living, they have already dead, they are no more in this world. So, they are also treated as the person. For example, very simple, most renowned celebrated writer in English literature is William Shakespeare, and the Nobel Prize award winner is Rabindranath Tagore, who is widely acknowledged throughout the world. These are the two examples I have given for your better understanding. So, basically persons are treated as entities only to the extent that they are involved in the creation or realization of a work. So, I told you the person who is responsible for the creation of that work or realization of a work. Example, if the person is responsible for creation of a work, he is named as the author. Sometimes for music composers, and there are so many books which are the responsibility goes to editor. You see, Oxford English Dictionary, Webster's English Dictionary, Encyclopedia Library in Phone Science. Are there any authors? There are editors. So translators, because some book is written in English, it has been translated to Hindi by some person. So their translator is the most important. So translator will act as the person or creation of that. Then directors, motion picture, video recording. Just I have explained in module 2. So directors and performers, those who are perform, they are also the creator of that work, or in some cases as the subject of a work. Example, as the subject of a bibliography or autobiographical work of a history, etc. These are also can be recognized, can be known as the person. Then let us discuss, or let me tell you frankly what is corporate body, so that you will have a clear-cut idea, clear-cut concept, clear-cut demarcation of what is person and what is corporate body. The entity defined as corporate body encompasses organizations. I told you repeatedly, a group of individuals, a group of persons, and or organizations that are identified as a particular name, including occasional groups and groups that are constituted as meetings, seminars, congresses, conferences, expeditions, exhibitions, festivals, fairs, etc. So here what happens? The entry also encompasses organizations that act as a territorial authorities, exercising or claiming to exercise government function over a certain territory, such as a federation, a state, a region, a local municipality. These are the examples of these things which I have explained you. So the entity encompasses organizations and groups that are defunct as well as those that continue to operate. So I would like to give you some examples which you can say what are the corporate bodies. You see, there is Museum of American Folk Art, corporate body. BBC, British Broadcasting Centre, Symphony Orchestra, that is very famous here. Then Symposium on Glaucoma. Then another example I have given for your better understanding, Kolkata Municipal Corporation. Kolkata Municipal Corporational Municipality, that is one example. Another example is Municipality of Ottawa, Carleton. So these are all the organizations. These are corporate bodies. These are. So when they are bringing something, it belongs to the corporate body. When individual has done something, it is called the person. So have a clear-cut idea between person and corporate body. Then they have given the group 3 entities. We have discussed group 1, group 2, now come to the group 3 entities. So group 3 entities, what it consists of? It consists of the concept, the abstract idea, concept, object, event means action, place. So the entities in the third group represent an additional set of entities that serve as the subjects of works. The group includes concept. What is concept? Concept means an abstract notion or idea. Notion same as idea, having the same meaning. So object, a material or thing. What do you mean an event? As I told you, an occurrence, an action. Event means some action is taken place. And place means a location, a geographical location. Then to discuss or to tell you about concept to be more clarified, you must be understand properly. Now the entity defined as concept encompasses a comprehensive range of abstractions that may be the subject of a work or a field of knowledge or you can say discipline, subject, field of knowledge, all are having equal meanings, or school of thought, School of thought, which subjects are called school of thought? Now, nowadays in the universities there is school of thought is there, school of humanities, school of life sciences, school of mathematical sciences. So, school of thought means philosophy, it is coming out of philosophies, religions, political ideologies, etc. Therefore, processes, techniques, practices, etc. are the examples. So to conclude, what is a concept? A concept may be broad in nature or narrowly defined and precise. So, the examples are very simple examples: economics, romanticism. These are the examples of this concept. There are a lot of examples. I have told you just 2 examples here. Then comes the object. What is object? The entity defined as object, same thing, encompasses a comprehensive range of material things that may be the subject of a work, whether animate, whether inanimate. Animate means those who are having a life. Inanimate means which cannot speak, which are no life. Objects, both occurring in nature, whether it is fixed, movable and moving objects that are the product of human creation, object that also no longer exist. So, see the bright, the very burning examples are the Buckingham Palace in London, Taj Mahal at Agra, Apollo 11, the Eiffel Tower. So, these are the very famous examples. Now you must learn about the event. What is event? So, as in FRBR guideline and FRBR text, it is clearly mentioned that the entity defined as event encompasses a comprehensive range of actions. I have told you event means some actions and occurrences that may be the subject of a work. That is the subject of work. Always the subject of work is not any content like that. Sometimes event also is a subject of work, because event involves always action. So, subject of work, that is historical events or epochs or periods of time. So, the bright examples are the German workers' strike, World War II, the age of enlightenment, and regarding the time, the 19th century. So, for every aspect we have given one example each. Then place. 3 things already I have explained in this group. So, last is the place. So, what is the place? The entity defined as place which encompasses a comprehensive range of locations, whether terrestrial and extraterrestrial, historical and contemporary, or geographic features and geopolitical jurisdictions. So, geopolitical jurisdictions and terrestrial, extraterrestrial, historical and contemporary geographic features. So, I have given some examples. When you listen, you will definitely understand in a more better and clear manner. So, Howrah Beach, the Alkran Reef, the Himalayas. So, Himalayas what? Geographical jurisdiction. New Delhi what? New Delhi is also a place. Then after hearing all the facets of FRBR, right from work, expression, manifestation, item, and group 2, corporate person, group 3, group 4, you must have a clear-cut idea what is FRBR, what is its function, what is the importance of FRBR, and most basic thing is entity relationship. It is a conceptual having entity relationship model. Second important point is attributes. So, basing on this, the FRBR has been here. So, to conclude the FRBR, I would like to say FRBR is a conceptual model. in relation to bibliographic universe, which has great potential to design information retrieval system, because the information retrieval system is a very important thing in any type of library, any type of information center, any type of agencies, bibliographic agencies. Since it is based on user task, as I have discussed user tasks. What are the user tasks? To name few: find, select, find, identify, select and obtain. That is the user task. This is also one of the most significant feature or part of this FRBR. So, it is also based on user task I have discussed. Then resource description and access, RDA, because after ASR 1 published, after they have published ASR 2 in 78, again in 1988 they have revised it in 1988, again in 2002 they have added some amendments. So, in 1996 they tried to bring out ASR 3. So, a lot of discussion, deliberations, views, suggestions were invited from the experts, and they thought that ASR 3, somebody told against ASR 3, somebody told against ASR 3. So, they have just replaced it with the help of RDA. RDA is, that is same resource description and access. It is not a rejection of ASR 2, but ASR 3, but it is just a replacing RDA, having the same concept like that. So, the new cataloging code. So, RDA is a new cataloging code, as I told you, ASR 2, ASR 3. So, it came to cataloging field RDA, and IFLA has taken a lot of initiatives for this. So, the new cataloging code has adopted FRBR model, which I have discussed. Many FRBR based systems have already come out. For example, OCLC fiction finder. You just remember virtual integrated library system. Then BIBSYS. So many things. So, FRBR provides a very revolutionary, a very celebrating, very innovative approach to study cataloging theory and practice FRBR. It is hoped that FRBR will greatly influence the catalogs and catalogers in the coming days. The days are not far off when you will feel the influence, the impact, the usefulness of FRBR. Thank you very much.